become a successful person, successful individual, and how to build a successful businesses.
You have a knowledge, you have the capacity to solve the people's problem. The successful business is...
You basically started the hype. You started this Dacha top movement.
Pointing out that you are the leader in the market, you are the one who actually drives and accelerates the innovation in that specific industry.
Should be ready to losses. Without loss, there isn't any business. Even the bigger companies, the bigger the company, the bigger the loss. If you don't have any loss, it means you don't have any business.
So it's time for tech news.
Yep, the hype around the tech.
Okay, so the first thing that I saw is billionaire Ron Barron says SpaceX will be worth about $500 billion by 2030. Well, the first thing is interesting for me is who is Ron Barron, because I never heard about this billionaire. And it says here SpaceX will be worth about $500 billion by 2030. Billionaire investor Ron Barron says.
500 billion.
500 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a pretty bunch of money. And
well, for SpaceX.
Yeah, but SpaceX. But interesting thing is currently it worth $150 billion. So this guy projects that it's going to be worth like 3.5 times more.
It's like almost quadruple.
It's almost quadruple. But another interesting thing is, because we don't know who the Baron is, and an interesting thing is that...
Who are you?
Who are you? Yeah.
Let's find out.
This guy owns a $1 billion worth of shares of SpaceX.
Okay.
In this rocket company. And of course, if I would own $1 billion of shares of any company...
Oh my God! Wow!
Let's add him on LinkedIn.
Yes, of course.
Maybe he'll help us out with our startups.
Of course, I would show the company in the positive sense, because I own 1 billion, and if everyone will believe that it's gonna quadruple in the value, so
I would buy it. Yeah,
I'm gonna have 4 billion, right? So it's logical
buy the
to
shares. And
endorse.
mentioning about, you just mentioned about SpaceX. So NASA, as we know. Okay. So they had a mission called Psyche mission. So it's a AI-powered mission. So they were focusing on testing laser technology up in the space. So it actually took a start as of this week, and it's a space laser technology for communications.
Oh, it sounds really horrible, scary. I would tell, because
it's a laser.
It's a laser. They're testing laser in the space for whatever reason it is, but we know the actual reason. I mean.
So do you think it has something to do with the military?
I think yes. I mean, you're testing out lasers in space. I mean,
that's a solid point.
What other application you would pursue to?
I'm sure it's going to be like 100 times faster.
Yes.
I'm not a laser expert, but that sounds like it.
Just imagine, we already have these satellite technologies. We already have all these rockets. You can find out anyone in every spot of the world. Doesn't matter where you are, because we have these mobile phones, and you're really easy to detect wherever you are. And it's really easy with a great precision to find anyone in this planet, because we have all these signals coming from the mobiles, whatever. And just imagine you are someone who is not liked by the government.
That's solid point. And we have a hypersonic technologies as well.
Yeah.
Now we will have a laser.
Laser from space.
Yeah.
From the satellite, with all the satellite precision.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean.
So we have headphones, right? So this new company, they are specializing on creating new sets of headphones. So there are also AI noise canceling headphones. So we do have noise canceling headphones, but now they're creating AI noise canceling headphones. That technology lets a user to pick which noises you'd like to hear and which noises you'd like to skip out. Can you imagine that?
Oh, it's like, so the noise canceling right now, it's like cancels anything
from outside, right?
From outside, except the thing that you're listening. I mean, from whatever device. So now I can actually pick If I want to hear you or whatever guys out there.
Let's say you're running around and you want to hear birds,
Oh,
and you just want to hear birds,
oh,
and you have a noise canceling earphones or headphones. It's kind
okay.
of cool. I mean, it's
I mean, it's cool, but what's the reason? I mean, if I'm on the headphones and I'm listening
so
to,
AI will be filtering out the noises from outside, and you can pick which one you choose and which one you want to skip. That's okay. That's new.
I mean, if I'm running, let's say, and I already have a headphones, I mean, the only thing that, I mean, if I need some noise from the outside, I think I need a noise, some important noises, some important voices, I would tell,
Yeah.
that needs to draw my attention.
Oh, actually, you could make sense if, let's say, you're running and you just want to hear human voices. If somebody comes up to you and speak up,
I think it's already there.
is it?
Yeah, I mean, with all the noise canceling, you can actually hear the voice of people, but the rest is canceled out. I mean, but I think it's just technology that is like cool technology, but I don't see some really practical application of that. I don't know. Maybe it will.
That's something new. There's a funny story. Actually, it's kind of a news. Bacteria could turn the moon into a farm for lunar colonies. The bacteria. So now we're talking about moon, but then later on, I think they will be talking about Mars.
I think yes, maybe Jupiter.
Yeah.
Or
So the bacteria can turn the farms into lunar
I
colonies.
I can just imagine
Yeah.
we're gonna be a solar species.
Colonizing America and Europe, and we're going back to history. But now it will be happening up in there
It's gonna be all the planets in the solar
in
system,
in the moon.
and the moon, then Mars, then Jupiter. I mean, then Pluto, whatever it is.
That
Sounds interesting. Cool. Okay.
What you got?
What I got? All right.
Oh, we hate traffic lights in Tashkent, you know?
What?
In Uzbekistan, we hate traffic lights.
Hate.
Yeah.
Why do we hate?
Well, they're all there's an association with traffic cameras, and they send out some bills.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Because of the strict laws we have.
Yeah, and
Every single traffic light has all these cameras that detect any minor violation of the rules, and you immediately automatically get all the fines.
do you get annoyed by traffic lights?
I myself know because I'm pretty law-abiding citizen. I would tell.
So-
But most of the people there are irritated because that's a local culture. They don't like rules, you know.
Apparently, there is a study, and Google is involved in it. So traffic lights makes people feel annoyed, and there is a study that traffic lights are annoying, and Google AI is making traffic lights more efficient and less annoying. I'd like to see that.
But I'm just interested what actually makes people annoyed from the traffic lights, and if the traffic lights will be still there, how Google is trying to achieve
Traffic light itself.
traffic lights.
Probably. That's what I'm interested too. How Google wants to make the traffic lights less annoying.
I mean, is it gonna be some traffic light with entertainment or something like that? I don't know.
I mean, if I were in Las Vegas, maybe I wouldn't be so annoyed from traffic lights. But I kind of understand, and you're waiting, and you're on the traffic, and you're just kind of annoyed. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
doesn't make sense, huh?
Maybe let's wait for Google.
Yeah,
Their turn.
yeah, I cannot answer that.
We shall see. Okay. Uh,
What else you got?
yeah, just checking for some news here. Russia.
Oh, are we going to talk about Russia?
Good old Russia.
Good old Russia.
Vodka, балалайка, медведь. All these associations with Russians. And here I have the news about the cybersecurity. Of course, Russia, cybersecurity. We always have this kind of news. Russia to limit only VPN services which pose a threat to security. I mean, I'm just curious how they're gonna filter out which VPN threats, security.
I think even in many countries around the world, not all the VPN services work. And
I mean, China. I mean,
yeah,
in China, nothing works.
yeah.
I mean, nothing works.
Well, there's probably going to be another China.
Maybe
Yeah,
they're
so
building like
they will just filter everything out. And
like in China, they're building a great digital wall, or how
Right.
was it called? I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting because I know they already made some steps there, making their own internet, making their own some protections there, and a lot of services they are banned already in Russia. For example, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, all their services are considered like I don't know. Maybe they know something. They
I'm
know
sure
better.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I
whatever.
think that would be it, right? Do you have anything else?
No, I think that we've covered pretty interesting news from the current week.
Yeah.
So
Some of the hype.
yeah,
You know, not everything.
exactly.
We've got so much more to cover, but like we have a limitation in time.
Of course. Now let's go to the podcast.
Let's switch to push and pull. Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, creative minds, ideologists, and young entrepreneurs. Welcome to our podcast. Once again, in our previous episode, we've covered what we are, what we'll be talking about, and what's our goal, and what we will be ultimately covering in this podcast. So we have our next episode that we'll be filming tonight, and we have our guest speaker also, and we will be covering another story, another success story in our upcoming podcast.
So this is going to be a KT knowledge transfer session where we'll be sharing and presenting you the interesting stories, inspiring stories of creative individuals who will be sharing with you their formula to success, their formula to become a successful person, successful individual, and how to build a successful businesses.
Tonight we have our next guest speaker, very well known, also our friend, Nuruddin. And he's known as one of the founders or the founder of Dacha Top and also a few other businesses, successful businesses. And he will be basically being a guest and also we will be interviewing him and asking about his success story and as well as his path to success and what he went through throughout this process.
So, yeah, let's welcome our guest, Nuruddin.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this podcast. I'm very glad to share the experiences, the knowledge I have building this business or other small businesses that are upcoming. And I hope this speech will be helpful not only for those who are about to start their own business, but also who are thinking about starting a startup.
Yeah, and actually, I just wanted to thanks for a short introduction about you and what you have done there. And I actually wanted to start with a very foundational question about your business, about Dacha Top. What kind of business is that? Just please share some details about it and tell us, please, what inspired you, what motivated you, and what was the reason of starting up this kind of business in our local market?
Okay, the idea came up while I was doing my MBA degree in 2018. I had a friend, he lives in Charmak region, and we had a talk about how people book the mountain cottages. So at that time, people went to Charmak region themselves and made the prepayment and came back. So it took around 4 to 5 hours for every trip. So it seemed a little bit weird for me because why not people open a website or kind of a visit page that can be a catalog of cottages so that they make their booking online. So we came up with the idea of opening a website where people can find the cottages, the list of cottages, and when they want to book the cottage, they kind of contact us. So we help them, as a middleman, we help them to book the cottages. So this way we started our first project.
Oh, that sounds great. It looks like it just seems for me it's kind of local adaptation of like global applications like Airbnb, but with some local taste on it and local spices.
We can say Airbnb, Booking.com, and unfortunately, we still need new systems like Booking and Airbnb for hotel booking system and other local tourism. So our next aim, we are working on it, to make the booking completely online.
Wow,
With no need of calling to operators.
great.
That's a brilliant idea and project. By the way, do you guys have app or is it fully web-based at this moment?
It's web-based at this moment.
Web-based, got it. So the question is, I think Kamaruddin wanted to ask about the establishment of this idea, how it was.
Yeah, I think I mean, I was mostly interested in the motivation behind starting up this company.
Well, the motivation is not especially building a website. The motivation behind this was creating my own business because by the time I decided to do my own business, I had been working for a government organization for 5 years, working for a salary and not doing anything except just going and coming from work. So we had a very good teacher from managing and leading people. We had such kind of a subject. He came from Singapore and he motivated all students. He explained that studying, getting knowledge, getting a degree does not mean that you have to work for some company or for the government. Studying means that you have a knowledge, you have the capacity to solve the people's problem. The successful business is if you are able to solve kind of, I don't know, maybe 100 people's problem, maybe thousands of people's problem. So once you have the solution to people's problem, so you may start it like a business. It becomes automatically a business. So I got motivated from that teacher and decided to quit my job and start my own business, be it successful or not. Thanks God we were successful in our initial project.
Cool. So, so the base value, the base thing that motivates you, and that was the reason to start up the business. It wasn't just like leaving the company or working for living the salary job or whatever it is. So basically, you just wanted to bring some value to people.
Of course.
And by extending your exposure to as much value as possible that you can provide to different people, I mean, you just wanted to make a difference. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's absolutely great.
So when you first came up with this idea, it was several years ago. So you've been in the market for past few years as of now.
No. It was initial step. I didn't have any knowledge about the market, about tourism market. I only had a friend who lived in Charwak region. He explained to me the situation, how it works. And of course, we had the challenges at first because when we started our online business, we needed partners. Partners from cottages, right? So I called the cottage owners and explained them the system. Like they give me the photos and I get the booking, but people look at it skeptically because up to that time people used to come themselves, see the condition themselves and book it. But this time they book with photos, right? So in such cases, some of the cottage owners were kind of very hesitant to work with us, right? Then we had to work with a hard booking. Hard booking, in our term, it means that whether your client comes or not, once we book, this cottage becomes ours. So this was sometimes challenging because clients come and maybe they leave the cottage, but anyway, we have to pay for it.
So the trust issues.
Yeah, trust issues.
So, as I understand, your business is fully based on your website because, as you mentioned before, everything everything is based on the trust. So you were able to conquer the trust of both parties, like people who get the countryside villas and those who actually rent those, the actual owners of those villas. So you were able to gain that trust and drive traffic to your website. So they book everything based on the photos that you have on the website. And as I understand, you utilize some internet advertisement to push all the traffic to the website.
Of course.
Great. And the very interesting thing is, I mean, currently in our country, we still have some issues with internet. It doesn't have that much coverage. Of course, we have a positive trend. It's actually increasing, growing, and a lot of people are getting exposed to the internet, but it's still small. And also, we don't have any. The payment solutions, they're also developing. We have some technologies like pay me and click, whatever it is, but people are still hesitant to buy things online. So how do you face this challenge, and how do you solve this challenge? Or do you have any offer in your website to actually book online? Or if not, do you have any plans to do that? And how are you gonna handle this issue?
Yeah, very good question. Initially, when we started our business, we opened a comment section so that every people, when they go to cottages, they write their comments. If there is any issue, any problem with the cottage, they leave it. And so unfortunately, we had to close this section because of it's not about the technology, but it's about our people. Unfortunately, today some people are misbehave themselves in internet. They use the offensive words. They use different. They leave as a commentary different bad words. Right. That's why we were forced to close it. This is a real challenge for us. But instead, if you open this comment section, as you said, people could kind of learn about cottage a lot. And this would be not only useful for clients, but also for owners. Some owners, in peak times in summer, they don't care about the problems they have. Because once a client comes and complains about the problem, they just let the client go because another client comes. So, but in the long term, if that client leaves a negative comment about the cottage, in the long term, it has impact, right? That's why they would also increase the quality of service they are providing. But I think if we compare it in 2018 to nowadays in 2023, the things are getting better, especially after the introduction of Uzum Market. Today people are very kind of not as hesitant as they used to be to make online shopping, online booking. And most of our clients come not only from the internet advertisements, but also from word of mouth marketing, right? If I help you with a cottage, so you tell your friend, I know one person who can help you finding a good cottage so that you will not have any problem, right? So I would say our biggest challenge is not technology based. The first thing that we face is people's behavior in the internet, and the second is with the resources like electricity. Once the days get colder, there is problem with electricity, right? Today, Sunday, I got around 100 people who are having rest in cottages, but at least in one cottage, there's a problem with electricity, right?
Oh.
So these problems are kind of a real challenge for us.
I think it leaves some really negative feelings in those who rent these cottages.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just curious. What is the average price for each? I mean, normal cottage, normal countryside villa per day.
For today, it's $200 for weekends.
Okay, I think that's going to be really awful experience if you rent a home, a cottage for if it's like weekends, so it's like 2 days, so you get $400 and you get that awful experience. And what happens in this kind of situations? So, for example, I as a regular person who just wants to go there to cottage with my family members, with my kids and my wife or parents, whatever, and I get this kind of awful experience. I mean, there is no electricity, and I just wanted to go and get some, I don't know, get some swimming in the pool, and I don't have this electricity. Is there any chargeback or whatever it is? How do you handle?
Yeah, of course, we give some chargebacks, but also the cottages are fully equipped with generators.
Oh.
You know, generators can kind of help you to lit the light, not other things. And also, when this happens, in general, it is accepted as force majeure, because it's not the cottage owners and not the middlemen, right? The organizations who are switching off the electricity. It's a force majeure. That's why we expect clients to have a mutual understanding in this issue.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we easily can call you successful entrepreneur and a businessman, and you've
I would call myself as a starter.
as a starter, you've been in a business. I mean, you got to motivate yourself somehow, right? So from my point of view, you are successful. You built something that wasn't there to begin with, and you took that product from point A to point B, and now it's functioning, well functioning, and people are actually using it, and they're appreciating it, and they're very happy. But so when you are starting it as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, you gotta have a plan. Then you gotta have a milestone. Then certain steps that you would like to accomplish as you move forward.
Yeah.
So what was your significant milestone that you've put in front of you? Hey, I need to accomplish this milestone, let's say in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years. And were you able to accomplish that milestone? And the additional question would be, were you able to learn anything while you were going through that process?
Yeah, of course. In the initial stage, I think it's very difficult. As I said, from just a worker into a businessman, it's very difficult transformation.
Right.
Because at the end of the month, you get your salary, right? You have a less kind of a... you don't have as much responsibility
Yeah.
as you are in businessman, right?
Yeah, it's more static and flexible.
Yes, static and no. I mean, flexibility is with with businessmen. But if you are just a worker, you do the static job, but you get the fixed amount of money at the end of the month. But once you become a businessman, you don't know when the next client comes, right?
Right.
You don't know when you get the profit. So this is a little bit challenging, and sometimes it was a difficult. As long as this cottage business is seasonal, we got the season in 3 to 2.5 months in summer.
Yeah.
Once the summer ends, you don't get the calls, you don't get that amount of clients every day, and people start depressing, thinking about doing another job or thinking about dropping this thing and do a parallel job, right? So in such a cases, I think it's not only in our business, but in all businesses. Once you start, yeah, you get some kind of a starter's profit at the beginning, but immediately after this profit, you might face challenges.
Right.
This is a very key point. In some cases, in most cases, many people just give away in this point because, you have family, you have children, you have to take care of them, right? You cannot say that you are doing business and they have to wait. No. So that's why it's very, one of the key milestones was to reach in a point that you can support yourself without clients. Right? So you have to do planning in such a way that this business, once you open, it's kind of your child.
Right.
You have to take care of it, be it with season, not season. It's not important. So what I learned and what I got as a personal, it's kind of personal gain, I would say. I transformed myself from a worker into a businessman. I know I have some days I have problems with finance or etc. But I never think about going back to work. I got 2 diplomas, bachelor's degree, master's degree. I can go to anywhere, and I can. Companies offer me a good salary, but I don't think about it because I have got a vision.
Right.
I want to develop my business. I have milestones, as you said. So the first milestone was to introduce the business. The next is to automate it as much as possible. Now we are working about introducing application, introducing new website that allows people make the booking online, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
So as you're moving forward, you keep expanding to begin
Yes.
with, and you briefly mentioned. I took your point. A lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners. So they start a company, and then as soon as they see the challenges, as soon as they start going through some rough times, they drop out.
yeah.
Immediately, they're not gonna go forward, move forward. They just quit. So I'm sure at the beginning when you were starting up with this company, you had so many challenges where you wanted to quit.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to quit.
Uh-huh.
When I started, we started this business in May.
May, okay.
It was the start of a summer season.
Mhm.
The business was very good.
Mhm.
We earned a good amount of money every day. The amount of money I earned while I was working in a government office, I earned 2 million sums
Okay.
for
Oh.
months, right?
Very
How many years ago that was?
It was 2018,
2018. So it's like 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Oh.
2 million, 2.5 million per month.
So,
this was my salary.
So it's equivalent of how much dollars? So it's like $250 at that time.
No. It was around 300 US dollars.
$300.
The
Okay.
exchange rate was around 8,000 or 8,000.
Yeah, back in those days it was like
This
yeah,
was
8,000.
This was the rate. And when I started the business on a daily basis, I earned 50 US dollars on a daily basis.
Oh,
This was a very good amount of money.
That's a great
Yeah, but
earning.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it was great. And but unfortunately, when the September came, this stopped.
Oh,
Imagine you are earning 50, and some days you earn 100 US dollars a day, but this stops. And you think about that when the next season comes, because I don't have experience.
Right.
This was the
Uh-huh.
beginning, and I didn't have any knowledge about the winter season.
Right.
Winter, we got also a season like 2 months, 2.5 months. And I think about finding a job.
Mhm.
But then I thought I opened the website. I did so much things, and I have got the plans, right? What I want to do in the future. So what I did is, you know, as you mentioned it, we got the visa business, right?
Right.
We help
Uh-huh.
people to get the visa. So
Additional company that you
Yeah.
have, right?
I decided to open an additional company until I come to the next season.
Right.
I think it's this another business that you have open. It greatly matches the seasonal pattern, right?
Yes.
Because for countryside villas, as I understand, as I know, the peak seasons are like summer season and winter season. And when it comes to a like fall or spring, it's actually some
Yeah,
some
there's
degree.
no season.
Yeah, there's no actually season. There's no any orders. There are no calls, whatever. And exactly at the month of October, you have a season for very interesting business and very interesting solution that you have made up for yourself.
So you're able to shift from one business to another business without the hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant strategy. So initially, when you were actually getting started, so you had a plan. Okay, so this is May. We know the season is about to start, and we're gonna be busy. But then you faced the problem towards the end of the summer, beginning of fall, that the demand started dropping. And at that moment, based on what I understood, you weren't quite ready or realized that the winter season, and you were not sure about the winter season, how profitable it could be. And I was going to ask, currently, are you making a decent amount of profit, or your business overall, let's put it that way, during the winter season? Is it still booming comparing to summer season? As we know, let's say in Switzerland or in America, winter season is also another season for vacations, and people, they start going out, they start doing family vacations, whatever you call it. In Uzbekistan, it's the trend
the
is
same, it's the
is it the same?
It's the same.
Yeah.
Because we got the Chimgan region
Uh-huh.
today, Amarsoy resort,
Uh-huh.
and they have created very good conditions for people who are lovers of skiing and other types of winter sports.
Okay.
What I want to say is it's kind of Boston Business Matrix, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In Boston Business Matrix, when I was a student, I learned this, but I didn't know how to apply it in real life. But when I had difficult times, like the business season shifted from high season to low season, right? What we do? So this dacha or cottage business is our cash cow, I say. So I had to find a star, like it's not only I think in our small business, but big businesses also use it. They have got, for example, we can take the automobile industry. Toyota has got Lexus and other brands. They not only specialize in producing only cars, right? They have different other brands to catch up with their financial needs when it's low season. So this is a simple technique for all business people.
That's brilliant.
That's awesome. And I just wanted to point out the most incredible and awesome thing about starting up your business with your really inspiring story is that when you go into the business, it actually forces you to grow.
Yeah, of course.
100%, 200%, it forces you to grow because you face the challenges, as with your case. I mean, you just entered the business and after the first 4 months, you actually faced the first challenge. I mean, you didn't have any orders and you need to figure out something.
Right.
That actually what makes, what gives you the entrepreneurship. It forces you to innovate. It forces you to find a new solutions. It forces you to find a new applications of different knowledge, and it forces you to grow. I mean,
Because motion creates emotion, and if it's
Exactly.
your baby, like you mentioned, and if you stop trying, if you stop just working on it, then it's done. It's failing.
It's
So
both challenging and interesting.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
Once I graduated from university, I went to bank to work, right? So after 1 week, I realized that this job is repetitive. You don't get any knowledge. You don't get any skill. After 40 years, you may be doing the same thing. But when you go out to search for another job, you will not have any skill. So it's a
Exactly.
it seemed to me a dead-end job. And why I studied, why I learned it. Then I wished about one thing, to have an idea, just to have an idea that I strive, I try to build. If I have an even small business, I would strive, I would start to build, I would struggle to make it bigger. This was my first wish.
Yeah.
So I did it, and of course, as you said, there were challenges, but I advise people not to be afraid of challenges because, yeah, maybe we as a Muslims, we all agree that what we eat, what we have is our kind of provision by our Lord. Right? This is provision. You just do the cause and you get the benefit.
Right.
You get your provision. It's kind of a part of our belief.
Right.
And another thing is, while I was working in government office, it was very hard for me to stay after 6 o'clock because you
No.
don't get paid, right?
Yeah.
You don't get paid, but you have to sit
I can relate to that.
until 8 or 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just without getting paid. But when you do your business, it's okay even if you sit until the 10 o'clock.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is your own business. You got the client, you got the work, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying it. You're
Yeah,
getting a
You're
benefit.
enjoying. I mean,
Enjoy it.
you can just work not just after like 6 o'clock, or you can even work during the weekends, on Saturday, on Sunday. It doesn't matter because this is your baby, this is your child, the thing
have
that
to
you're
take
working
care
on.
of it.
That's your legacy. So
Yeah, when they say your business never sleeps, it's 24/7, and
Exactly.
depending on the condition, you can do it in at midnight or on Sunday or during the week. So you gotta keep moving, otherwise, you won't be building your empire, right?
Exactly.
So at that right point. So my question is, how you have multiple business to shuffle? So you do this and that. How do you stay organized? I know you have a family and you have multiple other responsibilities as well. So at that moment, especially, we have a society that's full of social media and a lot of interactions, and also there are many items that can distract you, but the staying focused and staying on your path is very important. And how do you do that? How do you accomplish that moment?
Well, before I started my business, when I was in this initial stage, I had a misconception that I should have 100% control of my own business. But this is wrong. You cannot control your business 100%. You have to distribute your responsibilities. For example, I got the workers who is responsible for media. I don't stuck my nose into his or her business. He does the media part. And I got HR, I got a friend, and with different businesses, I get this sponsor or partnership agreements. So it's very good to share not only your responsibility, but also to be able to share your profit. So in our culture, in Uzbek culture, they take it very difficult sometimes to share their profit. And sometimes I have educational business. I go to kindergarten, I go to the education centers. Right? I have workers who earn more than me. I, as a being the chief executive officer, I have some workers whose salary is more than my final profit. But it's okay for me because I'm here now talking with you.
Yeah.
We're running this podcast, and the business is working. They are earning money for me. It's okay. So in order to be able to manage not only multiple business, maybe it's a single business, but it's very important to build a corporate management system so that, in my opinion, every business owner should have maximum of 10% of control. 10%. The rest of the 90% should be controlled by specialized workers or your staff, or you have to hire specialists.
So you're saying you need to delegate.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really crucial point here is that it's about the trust.
Yeah.
Trust to people who you work with, trust to your subordinates, and which is actually a big problem in our country because here everyone tries to micromanage every single thing, every single task. And they're not just telling you what to do, they actually tell you how to do that and stay and monitor and control whatever you do and how you do. So it's really interesting and awesome actually to hear that we do have people who actually apply this trust-based management system because, I mean, what actually people who actually in charge of business, in charge of specific task or job, what do they expect? They expect trust. I mean, if people, if their management, if their authorities, they trust, they will do, I mean, their best in order to fulfill all their obligations.
Yeah, and also another key point is you have to let your subordinates, your partners or your workers, to make a mistake. They shouldn't be able. They should be able to make a mistake. And yes, they try to create something new. Sometimes they are successful. When they are successful, you are happy. When they are unsuccessful, it's okay.
Yeah.
You have to encourage them instead of kind of,
Punishing.
Punishment is very bad.
So in that point, I follow this guy. He's an American speaker, motivator, Simon Sinek.
Oh.
And he talks about leadership, right? And at one of his podcasts or YouTube shows, he talks about you hire a new person to your company, and that person doesn't know your structure and your system. But it's like going to the gym. So you give that person an opportunity again and again to the certain point, so that person can learn your process, your business, and then gets to the point where he can run your company in the same process that you're doing. So you go to the gym, you work out on your first day. What happens in the mirror? Nothing. You don't see any result. You go to the gym for the second day. You work out again. What happens again? You don't see anything, any result. But once you start doing it consistently, after a week, after 2 weeks, after third week, then you're going to start seeing results.
Exactly. Nuruddin also mentioned about the management system and corporate culture things. I can do a comparison here why it really matters because people are not bad. I cannot tell. I don't agree with the statement that people are bad. I mean, everybody is a good person and everybody is capable of doing the things. Doesn't matter. If someone can build a rocket, another person can build a rocket too. It's all about the environment and conditions that he are conditioned to be and do the things. And I actually saw a really great examples. I mean, back then and maybe today as well, most of the, let's say, state-owned banks are not that good in the terms of the customer service. And I do remember one person that I know personally. He was actually, I know he was really irritated guy. And when you get some service from him in the bank, I mean, it was really low tier. I mean, it's really awful experience. But after he moved to one of the international banks in Uzbekistan, it's a local branch of those international banks,
I mean, that guy was the was the most pleasant person to talk with and to get the service from. So as you can see, it's all about the management systems. It's all about the corporate culture and how you treat your people, or what kind of training you provide to them. So I mean, everybody can do, I mean, great things.
Yeah.
It's about what kind of conditions you're in. So
So we can mention two people here, as we know, either J.W. Marriott or Henry Ford, right? The way how they manage their organization and company. So they always put their people first. And if you treat your people in a proper way, you teach them, you train them properly, those people, the same people, will be running your company as you need it. They will be your foundation. They will be your the pillars of your company. So that way you can outgrow yourself. So it's a very solid point to mention here. So as we move forward, what are your future plans? As we know, the technology is rapidly growing, especially now we're seeing more and more involvement in terms of technology within our market in Uzbekistan. And what are your future plans for example, Dacha in our specific example? How are you planning to expand, and what kind of innovations are you trying to implement?
Yeah, we are expanding. We used to work only with cottages, right? Now we are moving to booking hotels, booking the
Wow,
very nice.
rent offices and tours. And as you know, since there is a switch in system, a new president opened a lot of gates for tourism, right? We used to have only 2 million, 1.5 million tourist visits in old system, but these days, we got at least 5 million people coming to our country. Most of them are coming from Central Asian countries. But unfortunately, we still don't have our own local system for booking hotels.
Right.
Elementary, just try to find a hotel in Andijan or Fergana. You use either booking or Airbnb.
Yeah.
And not all hotels are covered there. So we are about to finish this new project that will cover all the hotels, all the rent offices, and especially we got the problem with our students. When September comes, they struggle finding rent houses for themselves.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So our next project, our next website will cover not only cottages, but also offices, rent houses, tours, and hotel bookings.
That's a great expansion. Actually, you mentioned, I've noticed if you want to book a hotel in Bukhara, so we were planning to go a couple of weeks ago, and you can do by visiting their own website, or there's no universal website that was created by Uzbek company. You either use Booking, Expedia, or third-party companies, right? So you are going to be pioneer in this sphere then. That's awesome.
Yes.
that's great. And I actually wanted to, if we just go back to Dacha Top, I wanted to ask a question about competitors. So, what is the situation with competition in the market? I think, as I know, it was like back then, many years ago, it was a business of individuals who are mostly locals or people there who know the locals, brokers, let's say. So who know the situation, who know all the things. But year by year, especially with the emergence of the social media and all this online marketing and advertisement, whatever it is, I think there are many companies that emerge doing the same thing as you. And I just wanted to know, what is the state of the competition in this market? And what is your position among them? So can we call you a number one company in the countryside rentals market of Uzbekistan?
No, I wouldn't say it's not important to be number one or number two. The important thing is you should be able to keep moving. Yes, when we started, we didn't have any competitors. Even today, I can say our main competitor or the biggest player in the sphere is OilX. Of course, it's not directly related to booking business, but it has become such a platform that you can find anything, including the rental offices or cottages or etc. Of course, they got some problem with scamming and etc. But what I want to say is, yes, we got competitors. So in order to be successful among a fierce competition, we should know that we as a company should be ready to innovation, should change the way we are doing business. If you stay as a stagnant, you lag behind. So I have never tried to become the first. I have always think about how I can feel the people's problem, how I can solve the people's problem, right?
All right. So we actually didn't mention about the competition. So if we're going back to your Dacha Top project, so what is the state of competition in this market? So as I remember back like 5-6 years ago, I mean before all this hype came into the market, it was actually individual people. Let's call them brokers, who were handling all these things related to countryside villas. They were actually booking and doing all the stuff, the organizational things, etc. But after the emergence of internet and social media and all this online advertisement, all these things, people, I mean, those, let's call them business people, entrepreneurs, they actually started building up the companies, much like yours. So I just wanted to know, what is the state of the competition in this market, in the rental of countryside villas, and what is your position among them? So how do you differentiate yourself among those?
Okay. Yes, you are right that when we started, there was no competition. We were number one, and we were the only people who were doing this business. And as you said, the brokers, local brokers, didn't kind of welcome us. They thought that as if we were kind of killing their business, but in fact, what we did triggered them to open their own not website, I would say, a page in Instagram, a page in a channel in Telegram or groups or etc. And you mentioned one thing very well: hype. Yeah, unfortunately, today this hyping has become very popular among youngsters, among businessmen. So they are using hype, showing themselves as if they are the big players in the market. But in fact, you can see how well they play during the low season. So for 5 years, thanks God, we are still in the market. Yes, there are ups and downs. Today we got, if you just type the word Dacha in Instagram or Telegram, you see hundreds of groups, hundreds of channels.
Exactly.
And some of the groups, some of the channels use our names as part of their name. You know, it's kind of a marketing. So we don't say anything to this because it's normal, and it's even better. If you have a competitor, you feel yourself that you are forced to move forward. You are forced to do something new that your competitors don't have. You have to be innovative as much as possible. Otherwise, if there is no competitor and I'm only the company, I wouldn't have maybe the projects that I have today. Maybe I wouldn't want to go even further, like hotel business or rentals or offices, right? So because of this competition, thanks to this competition, we are always on the move. We are always trying to do some new technologies, and thanks God today, even if for example, a new cottage opens, and we introduce ourselves as a Dacha Top. So they say, yeah, we heard about it. We have our own position in the market. We are trusted partners. Once we book a cottage for a client, most of the cottages even don't require prepayment from us, because they know that with one word we book. So if there is any problem, we are in charge.
Okay, so it's about the trust.
Yeah, trust.
So you gain your trust in the market among everyone.
We gain trust. I know one company, they are our competitor. They opened it last year. So they had difficulty in making a booking because they are new in the market. The owners don't know them. And there are new entrants who just book the cottage, and in case of problem, they don't pay back for the cottage. For example, your client cannot come today. So what happens? We just pay for this cottage. That's it. But newcomers, new businesses, they don't do it. The next time, they will not get the kind of booking from the owners, right? And it spreads in the market. They have to close the business and come up with a new name, a new season. Every season they come with new names, you know?
So it's actually the same people,
Yeah.
but with some new brand.
Yes. with even new phone numbers.
Interesting. And actually, you mentioned that when they open up their companies and open up creating their brands, they try to imitate your name. I mean, your company is Dacha Top, and probably, as I understand, they're like adding some other words like Dacha something, and
They directly get the name Dacha Top.
oh,
Yeah, I call and I explain them that this is the brand name. Please don't use it. It's kind of offensive, and unfortunately, in our country, it's not well controlled.
oh,
You can open up Apple company, right?
yeah.
Apple Uber, or they just add up something to your name. We know speakers, not sneakers.
Yeah, but I mean, if they are directly using exactly the
No,
same
they don't
naming,
use directly. They have this word Dacha Top inside. You know, Dacha Top, Dacha Bar, Dacha, these words.
oh, okay.
When you search in the internet because of this word, they appear. So
But I think it's I think we can consider that as an appreciation because
yeah, they are
it's
promoting our brand.
they're promoting your brand, and it's actually pointing out that you are the innovator in the market, and everybody, all of your competition, they're trying to be like equal to you. I mean, it's like if you are number one in certain industries, I mean, just look. I mean, whatever in the clothing industry, you have Nike or whatever, and you have, I mean, zillions of Chinese replicas who try to be like Nike, and they're using their name, but they're not the original brands, of course, but they're trying to be like them. And I mean, when others do like that, they're actually pointing out, they're actually appreciating and pointing out that you are the leader in the market. You are the one who actually drives and accelerates the innovation in that specific industry, because otherwise they wouldn't do that. I mean, they would pick up some other brand to replicate.
You basically started the hype. You started this Dacha Top movement. Basically, you created that, and
Yes.
then they started replicating you because it's easier to replicate than creating your own, right?
Yeah.
He has a system, he has a website, and he has a social media reach,
it's
and all you gotta
actually-
do is create.
Yeah, and what he created is actually not just a website or social media, whatever. It actually created a system of relationships between people, because that's the base thing. That's the foundation of everything. I mean, yeah, the website that he has, it actually just technological solution to a processes that he actually created. The core thing here is the architecture of the relationships in the society, because just imagine like 5 years ago you wanted to book something. How did you do? I mean, I remember
You had to go to Charwak. That's it.
Charwa, it was a challenge. I mean, I remember like 5 years ago, if I want to go with my family and get some countryside villa, I first need to go physically, like it's 150 kilometers from Tashkent. We need to drive there and one by one search. Just imagine how much time does it take to find a suitable countryside villa. I mean, you actually
Very inconvenient, very physical and manual work.
you actually saved hours of time for people. I mean, just
Right.
imagine millions of people trying to find a countryside villa. It takes like 3-4 hours. You save like 4 million hours of people's time. I mean, that's thing to proud of, I think.
Thank you.
And you talked about trust. I know business involves certain amount of risks, and especially when you're working with people, every person is different. They have different personalities, characters, personality traits, and some you can work, some you can trust, some you don't know whether they're trustworthy or they can just hold you out at the end of the day. Have you ever had or you ever been in a situation where someone, let's say closer to you, sold you out or put you in a position that you regretted that you started working with them?
Well, if you want to become a successful businessman, you have to be ready to lose money in the market. So it's a simple question. Just ask people if they have any problem, if they have anyone who kind of sold out them for money. If they say yes, this means that they are doing business. For example, while I was working as a worker in bank, I didn't have such a situation because I didn't deal with people. I didn't deal with anyone, right? If you start dealing with people, it's normal case that you face different problems, different people, as you said. People just go and say to you that I will pay you for this money, just but I don't have it right now. Please, just let me go. They go to cottage, they have rest without paying. They
Oh.
promise to give back in 2 or 3 days, but they don't do it. They just switch off their phone. It's okay because this is part of our business. We, as a businessman, should be ready to losses. Without loss, there isn't any business. Even the bigger companies, the bigger the company, the bigger the loss. If you don't have any loss, it means you don't have any business.
Right. So the sacrifices, without sacrifices, you don't get the cake. That's a great explanation.
Exactly.
Nurdan, thank you so very much for your inspiring stories and that you covered your business success path. And hopefully this will be very interesting to our viewers, to listeners, and they will take very needed, necessary points from your speech, and they can apply that towards their future businesses, future goals. And we were inspired, actually.
Exactly, because I myself learned a lot of things, and both personally, I mean, I know you for so many years, but I actually didn't know much of the facts that you mentioned about yourself. So it was, I mean, two things. I mean, now I know my friend
Even better, right?
even better than before, and I actually had a really great lessons for myself as well because, yeah, I mean, I understood the importance of value of serving people and providing the solutions. That was really great. I mean,
Yeah.
so
And now they know better about Dacha Top. Hopefully, this will even pump it up even further. And like he mentioned, that there will be more news and more products and innovations will be coming up from his company, and we'll be looking forward to it as well. And we have a book to mention at the end of this podcast.
yeah, actually, at each episode of the podcast, we're going to be recommending some really interesting book from our own experiences, from what we read, and I actually wanted to present you today a book called The Millionaire Fast Lane. That's really awesome book. That's really great book. It was written by MJ DeMarco. It's actually the first book in the series of 3 books. The second book was unscripted, and the third one was also related to these topics. But what I really liked about the Millionaire Fast Lane is MJ DeMarco here explains the whole nature of the business without any fluff. I mean, every single word that you will read in this book has the meaning. And it explains you things in a really simple way. Because when I took this book in my hands, I just read it with one breath. I mean, I didn't take any interruptions. I think I read that like maybe in a couple of days during when I was coming home from job or from my work, doing my things. And he explains here the 3 ways of actually doing money, earning money, and planning your professional and business path and career journey. So I really recommend reading this book, and hopefully that will benefit everyone. Yeah.
That's a great recommendation. Well, thank you, everyone. So we've covered our book of the week, and we've had an amazing discussion, chat with our friend Nuruddin, and he shared his experience. He wrote his path to success, and we found out more information about Dacha Top. And it was very inspirational, motivational, and we are looking forward for further stories from you, Nuruddin. And for our upcoming podcast, we'll have another guest speaker that will be coming up very soon. And stay tuned for those information, for that news. And thank you so very much for following us. And we're happy to be here once again. And please stay tuned for upcoming news.
And Nuruddin, thank you for this interview.
Thank you very much for your invitation. We had a very good talk.
Yeah, thank you.